Okay, our parts and pieces came in and I went ahead and assembled one of these trucks. Again, remember, these require twice as many parts as conventional trucks because these are what are called double stacked dual pivot. So that's 2 king bolts, 2 sets of bushings, 2 of the pivot cups. So let's take a look at what it's going to take to just pop this second one together, and we'll move on. All right, let's start with the bottom and work our way up. First things first, I need to drop one of the pivot cups in here, and these guys are a really tight fit, so don't be surprised by that. And you might find that it's hugely beneficial to have something like this quick release clamp. I have a vise, which I could use for this, but a vise is an investment you might not want to make. So instead I can use this guy to just squeeze that pivot cup right into place, right? So now that guy's sitting down flat. Next thing is to take my bushing set. Again, remember, 2 times the bushings here. We are going to start out with a bottom washer, cylinder, second stack, I've got to seat that knuckle down into that pivot cup. And again, this is where, a vise is a really good way to do this. But again, also, I can do it on the cheap just by simply taking this clamp and walking that in. There's a knuckle popping. Now, my cone, I'm going to have to squeeze that guy in a little bit tighter. That's a little bit better. Conical bushing goes in on top, and I'm still sitting a little bit high on there, so I can either give this a little whack with that soft face hammer and drive that down a little bit further, so that I can get that to seat low enough to get my nut to pull that the rest of the way down. So give me just 1 second to get that hammer and give it a whack. I wouldn't do this with a conventional hard face hammer because it could maul the threads. But that soft face hammer pushed it down in there. And now you can see my bushing is down enough that I have enough exposed threads to be able to get that nut on top. Once we get that second bushing in place, it's a little tricky to reach this first bushing, so I'm going to try and take that down as close as I can to where I think it needs to be. Remember, we're using what are called nylocks on this guy. It has locking threads that minimize the chance of it backing off from vibration. All right, next cup. Squeeze that in. Bottom washer, cylinder, hanger. Just get that seat in that cup. Cone. Washer. See if I can't get that to sit down a little bit lower. Okay, so what are we getting from that dual pivot? A wider range of motion, right? So tighten this up just a little bit more. Man. So I'm getting articulation at 2 points, at the hanger and at the base, which is going to decrease that turning radius substantially. So next step is going to be throwing this on a deck.